And it looks like we're recording. Good day, everybody. Welcome to the Market Protocol Engineering Weekly Call. It's week number 36, and we'd like to welcome everyone. Happens to be a big Market Protocol party today, but that's okay because we're sure some of you will be able to listen offline. Today is National Fight Procrastination Day. Difficult for me to say. And so never put off tomorrow what you could do today. And it's interesting because that quote is attributed to Mark Twain, Oscar Wilde, and Benjamin Franklin in some form or fashion. Okay, guys, it was this or National Barbie Day. No pun intended, Barbie. So are you a procrastinator? If you are or aren't or think you are, take the survey at the first link I have in the community issue that's posted for the call. Some say it's something not to be proud of. You know, I'm sure you've heard it before. Does your honey-do list look like the first 2 volumes of The Lord of the Rings? What exactly is going on in our minds? If you want to find out, check out the Tim Urban link and dive into the mind of a master procrastinator. It's pretty enjoyable watch. I just think procrastinators are misunderstood. Does it actually mean inspiration? I think so. And anti-pattern, you might ask, check out the slowing down link from TED Radio Hour. I know it sounds like a commercial now, but it's really fascinating to see how procrastination might actually lead or be inspiration. So let's move on to our introductions. Let's start with Travis. Just tell us who you are and if you're a core team member and what you work on.
My name is Travis Mathis. I am a core team developer for Market Protocol. I work mostly on backend and a lot of JavaScript work on the D app and various other parts of Market Protocol.
Thank you, Travis. On to Patrick.
Hey, Patrick Charles here. I live in Denver. I'm an advisor, and I worked a bit on SEO and some of the infrastructure earlier in the project, and tracking all the good work that's going on and hoping to make some contributions again in the future.
Thanks for joining us, Patrick. Let's move on to Phil.
Morning, I'm Phil Sasser, CTO and co-founder of Market Protocol. I work on a little bit of everything. Most recently looking at integrations with Chainlink and obviously other kind of business needs of the dev team.
Thanks, Phil. Bass.
Hey guys, my name is Bass. I'm a part of the Market Protocol team on the business side of things, both business operations and development and wherever I can help out. Listening in on the call today because you guys have been on a roll and it's fun to see what you're up to and especially the demos.
Awesome. Thanks, Bass. Collins, let's move on to you.
Hi, everyone. This is Collins Brown. I'm one of the co-founders of Market Protocol as well. The engineering call last week was great, and like Bass, I really like seeing what you guys are working on, so looking forward to seeing what you have today.
Thanks, Collins. Eswar.
Hey everyone, I'm Ishwar. I'm part of Gitcoin core team, majorly working with the front-end technologies.
Thanks, Eswar. And last but not least, Nitin.
Hey guys, I'm part of the core team working in the design part as well as front-end stuff here and there.
Thanks, Nitin. Oh, and not last but least, I didn't see the icon below. Barbie. Are you joining us? Okay, let's move on. Thanks everyone for joining us today on the call. And the next section we have here is if there are any product or UI or UX feedback areas or questions that the team might have, they'll typically bring it up in this section. So Nitin wants to take a quick poll on some work that he's been noodling on. So I'm going to turn it over to him.
Cool. So last week we were working on the sim exchange design and like the fine details here and there on all all aspects of the SIM exchange, which we're building on our D app. And one part which we were working on was the wallet history part, where basically the UI for whatever the history of transactions happened on that specific wallet. For example, if the user has deposited or withdrawn some amount, and user has to get to know like what are the history of whatever happening on his wallet. So this is the UI which we've come up, and it basically has a 3-column layout kind of thing, an amount column and the transaction hash for that, and the more details part where on hovering will show more details regarding that specific transaction. And so I actually kind of had one, I wanted to get to know feedback with this aspect, especially with the amount part. So right now we have like amount denoted with, overall in the SIM exchange, we have 2 color schemes. One is the market teal color, and the other one is the orange color, which we've recently introduced. So the teal color the teal color denotes whatever positive, and the orange color denotes whatever something negative. For example, use a similar way for this wallet history part as well. So whatever the user has deposited, kind of denoting as a positive note, and whenever the user is withdrawn, kind of denoting that as a negative note. So I just want to get some feedback with that. So I just have few options over here. So basically this is an individual deposit row, which I showed on the wallet over there earlier. So I was just curious to know what you guys think of which would be the best, best fit for, whenever you guys see a deposit anywhere. So which would make sense? Which would be the most, which makes sense? You guys can feel free to drop some like 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 in the chat. So I'll just take a look at it. We can probably have a discussion later on.
If you want some feedback now, I think we have the time.
Yes, so I was expecting now, so you guys can just drop whatever thing on the chat, like 1 or 2, 3 or 4.
And Nitin, you broke up a little bit in your explanation. So just kind of curious. So this is just deposit. So this is money coming into
the wallet.
Your wallet. Okay. And then
yes,
so the withdrawal is not part of this, correct?
Yes. So I'll go. I have the withdrawal as well.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Sorry.
Yeah. So I hope everyone is like dropped in the comment. I'm not able to see though, but yeah. Anyways, and I'll just have a look at the chat. Oh, yeah, okay. 2 and 3, 3, 3. Okay, so there's a major agreement over 3. All right. Okay, that actually makes sense. So you guys could drop the feedback for withdrawals as well. I was just trying to, try some new stuff, carry on poll. I don't know whether this is the best way or what's the best way, but yeah, I hope you guys have left comments. Travis says,
overall, sorry, man, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I think it's a great idea. I think the presenting the options and have people just vote works well.
Yeah. So I mean, Travis says I see some, but yeah, for deposit 3 and for withdrawals must hold 4. Basically, withdrawal is something get taken out of the wallet, and the arrow indicates out. I mean, this would be the appropriate one. I feel deposit something going. Yeah, I mean, this is in accordance with what I was thinking. Thank you, guys. This is all which I wanted.
And I really like it. Looks awesome. I think it'll be great. Once we get that implemented in there for just ease of reading it.
Yes, I think we already have implemented. I think the PR is merged. So.
All right, even better.
Sort of. It's sort of implemented. We know.
Yeah.
I was able to finagle it. I got to do some refactoring, but yeah, we'll be there today.
Awesome. Yeah, I know things are moving fast on the D app, which is great.
Very fast. So fast,
Right.
Lazar can't even keep up. That's a different. Sorry, he's not on the call.
Not here to defend himself.
He is not. He is not. Hey, thanks very much. No feature is too small to get some feedback on. So I think that was great. So I appreciate you putting that out there.
Yep. No worries.
So this week, the big push is to get the UI populated with the data. That's really our main goal. There's a lot of plumbing that's being put in place for that. You'll see a little bit later some of the UI UX improvements as a result of integrating some of the service listener and market API off-chain functionality. So it's pretty exciting. Also, the grid view of the contract explorer, completing the DB service listener work. Phil's working on some exploratory work with Chainlink, and then securing the market API endpoints. Any questions? All right, our monthly release status, doing well, just chugging along. Team is kicking butt, so we've got still a lot of work on our plate, but little over halfway through this particular release, and gunning towards September 17th. So thanks everybody for all of the contribution and work. This part of our call, if there are anything that people would like to share about whether it's breaking changes or something they've discovered in process of doing their coding or working on issues, feel free to jump in here. I'll pause just for a moment to allow anyone to participate in this. See, that's what I like to hear. Everything's just perfect out there. All right. So we do have to summarize where we're at in this pseudo competition for the first trade. And so the contract last week that was traded was Bitcoin against stable USD. And so it had a price cap of about 9,700 and a floor of 32.41. Hopefully we don't get there. And the trade price was 68.65. So I'm thinking that Phil had the inside track on something. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Travis, how you feeling about that long position now?
I'm always happy to be long Bitcoin. Been long since $9. I am not sad to be long Bitcoin.
Oh boy,
Respect
Yep.
it.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised by the recent there's a little recent downturn for sure, but I guess a lot of that, some of that news, like Goldman and other things, you can see why it's happening.
I think it had to do. There was, I mean, there's I don't know. There was, I think the movement in Ethereum has been more interesting than Bitcoin. Honestly, there's a lot more selling going on in Ethereum over the last few days. Mostly probably Digix, the gold-backed token, just approved. Their voters approved 20 million liquidation of their ICO funds or something. So
interesting.
We've seen a lot more movement. Yeah,
I thought it was attributed more to kind of all of the negative press around. I mean, there was that article that came out that was basically attacking why Ethereum as an asset should be worth nothing, but the blockchain itself may actually be. And you know, Vitalik responded to it, but it's definitely interesting press.
It was. I mean, it was nonsense. It doesn't even make sense in the scope of like where we're headed. So
Yeah, I think
it's really.
I think we're at peak negative narrative right now for Ethereum. It feels, awfully like Bitcoin in the last bear market where, people thought it was dying. Somehow that's the narrative around Ethereum, even though the fundamentals haven't been changed. And sure, the ICO selling on the margins doesn't help either, but compared to the total volume.
as a network's only getting stronger because there's real protocols actually starting to come to life, including Market. So we're not far from like having, additional functionality that no other blockchain is going to have. Like, it's not just the blockchain and how fast it can process transactions. It's the additional layers of functionality that have been built on top of it. And as far as that, Ethereum is king. Like, not even Bitcoin has people building on it like Ethereum does. So, because it's not easy to build on Bitcoin.
So, Bass, you think I should cover my shorts is what you're saying, huh?
I still like my long.
If you've got them on Ethereum, that would be a good time, I think. But I've been wrong, the past couple
Right.
I'm not I take this, I'm not a trader. I'm just a developer and have always been a curious bystander in this whole social experiment. So.
Yep.
All right. Sorry for taking us down this tangent, Robert, but I had to talk a little smack for for the shorts working out.
I appreciate it. I knew there was some trading juice in there somewhere. You guys would get off and start talking about it.
I mean, it's funny because 24 hours ago, I was way up on the trade,
Yeah.
from the position where we entered. So in 30 days, who knows where we're going to be? 1 week.
Yeah. This contract actually had I think it was already, for whatever reason, I think it had like maybe a 17, 18 day expiration on it.
So we're getting short.
So it's going to quickly close here another 10 days.
I'm already covering. Don't worry.
Oh, that's great.
I'm at a disadvantage. Phil's been doing this his whole life.
This is true.
Lots of fun, guys. Yeah, appreciate the commentary. Let's move on to the demos. And we've got a couple today. Travis is going to show us some UI, UX improvements with the integration of some of the off-chain work. And Phil's going to take us through the Contract Explorer work. I believe the grid view, right, Phil?
Yeah, I have it up so I can do it after Travis if that's good.
Okay, great. So, hey, Travis and Phil, just pause, state your name, what you're going to demo, and then move on into the demo.
All right, sounds good. Let me just go ahead and share my screen first and get it set up. Share that screen. You should be able to see my Exchange Trade UI.
You got it.
All right. My name is Travis Mathis. I'm a core developer at Market Protocol, and we're going to be demoing our off-chain solution to dealing with looking up market contract data. So dealing with building up data from the blockchain is great because the data you're building up off-chain it really doesn't matter. Like if it ever goes bad, you have the best backup you could ever possibly imagine, a perfect exact replica in the blockchain that you can rebuild your database from at any time. So it's really neat in that aspect that using the blockchain as your database backup allows you to do some pretty neat things when listening to events that are emitted when we do specific actions within our contracts. So over the last few weeks, we've been building what we've dubbed the service listener. The service listener is one of our open source repositories, and you can look at it over here. And what it's essentially doing is it's a basic node app that's running and listening for blockchain events, which we then store currently in a Postgres database, but you could easily put this into something that's decentralized. If you're building a decentralized DEX like Luzelle or any of the other future decentralized database options that are coming down the pipeline. And so the idea was to get what was roughly taking us about 30 seconds to build up every time you wanted to explore contracts. So I'm going to give you a brief demo of what life was like currently or before we built the service listener in the DApp. And what we're going to be focusing on here is this contract widget. And we're going to load all of the contracts that currently exist within Market from the blockchain and show you roughly what it takes. It's about 30 seconds. And so you'll notice that that didn't work as expected. I forgot to save my code. 1 second. That's actually what it's like without the blockchain. And so now you'll see the difference. So what you just saw was what it's like loading it from the service listener API. So the service listener is always listening for blockchain events. Anytime it hears one, it sends an API call out to our data, to our API, which then saves the new updated information to our database and allows us to pull that data from an API versus loading it all from the blockchain, which to do this, we have to build up all the transactions and then hunt through the transactions. And there's a lot of work that goes on. So you can see that this isn't a great user experience at all. Like nobody wants to come to a website and sit here and watch the market, as cool as it is, load for this long. And eventually you'll see that it will load all the same contracts that I'll show you again. And I will put it back the way it should be once it loads. And so you are getting also a brief demo of the new exchange and trade UI that we're actively working on. Yeah, so sometime today it will actually load contracts. I'm pretty sure of it anyway. Yes.
Wow, Travis, that's a huge improvement.
Yeah. So anyway, so I will roll it back now. We won't actually wait for it to load all the way. I'm going to roll it back and not load it from Web3 anymore. And so the whole idea was just to be able to decrease the load time, obviously. And so we've gone from 30 to 60 seconds down to about 250 milliseconds. And so you can see that that pretty much loads just as you would expect any website to load with any type of data. And so this is also, but you can see the difference here, the loading contracts. And so in development load, we're able to, at any time, request a load from Web3 for various testing purposes, just to make sure that everything is working. But you can see that that's pretty much made interacting with the blockchain data just as you would expect any web app to be. And that data is, you know, at any point, if it ever is messed up or we lose track or we get out of sync, we can easily rebuild the entire database from the history of the blockchain. So you always have an up-to-date backup. Never fails, you'll never lose it. It'll never get corrupted in a bad tape. It'll never get lost. It'll always be there as long as the Ethereum network is running. So that's pretty cool.
Great demo, Travis. It's huge. All right, thanks for that. Any questions on the call? All right, let's move on to Phil.
Cool, thanks. I've been having some internet trouble, so hopefully this comes out smoothly. If it doesn't, let me know. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen here. If it lets me.
Barbara, it's amazing how you're holding perfectly still in the video. Oh, I'm sorry, that's your picture.
It's interesting. It's not, I don't know if it's going to let me share. Oh, here we go. All right. Sorry. It's a little bit different on Linux. I don't have my laptop with me today. So anyways, let's give this a shot. All right. You guys can see that, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Great. I'm Phil Sasser, CTO and co-founder of Market Protocol. And today I'm demoing our Explorer grid view. So one of our contributors, Mike Stone, has been working on this, which is a design that Ari and Nitin have implemented a mock of, and then he's actually going and taking that mock and putting it into code to implement in the UI. So our old Explorer, as Travis was showing, looks something like this. We're working on a few things to standardize some naming, so this data will populate a little bit in a little bit nicer format. But one of the things we wanted to do was have a visual way of seeing the data also that was easier to search through and provided some color coding and a little bit less dense. So this is the format that we've come up with that allows for more of a grid view instead of that list view that we just saw. And once the contract names are all standardized, which is something that will happen in a soon release of market.js, and we will have this data that's populated into the reference asset, which will be denominated in the first little coin, and then the collateral token that will be denominated in the second coin. So some of these are pretty close to correct. The format of the contracts are kind of parsing in a way that makes sense. But for instance, the collateral token here would be ETH or wrapped Ether, and then the token that this is trading would be QTOM. And it also color codes some of the expiration. So if we have something that's expiring soon and within the next day, it would show red here. The collateral token would show up, and then there could be more information popped up through the little ... menu for the address, some token information, and other things like you could copy the Oracle query to see where it's pulling data from. So it's just a much probably nicer way to view some of this, and especially when we start putting in the filters to have all the contracts that are expiring soon, which is something we're working on. But you'd be able to see everything that was either trading heavily, expiring soon, or things that you were interested in that were added to your watch list. So it's just another way of viewing data that should help users find contracts that they're interested in trading, or contracts that they want to, make money off Travis with. So yeah, that's the new Explorer grid view that Mike Stone's been working on. I think there's a few changes that we're implementing, and then it's going to get hopefully merged in the next few days here into our develop branch. Questions on any of that, or comments, feedback?
Looks great, Phil. One of the when you did the clicked on the ... for more information, couldn't do that again, Phil. The first thing that popped in my head was the information is good. I was just thinking that I think there's a little graph that we're using to create the contract, and it shows graphically it shows the cap and the floor and where the current price is. So I was just wondering, did you guys discuss in the more detail? Maybe it's not purposed for that in this view, although it's the thing that popped in my head as soon as I saw the more detailed pop up.
We haven't thought about that, but I think that's an awesome suggestion. It could either be displayed in this negative space here, or maybe even possibly somewhere on the actual grid view. Certainly something we should create an issue for and track and see what NINR can come up with. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's a great suggestion, Robert. We can definitely make use of these spaces, and you can something. This is not the civilization which we're going to do in the future, but yeah, we can try something with that as well.
Okay, great, thanks. Anybody else? All righty, thanks, Phil.
Thank you, guys.
We have a discussion topics agenda item. Is there anything that any folks would like to present or discuss or give us feedback on? All righty, I'll take the crickets, meaning there are no topics. I am going to leave you with something. Obviously, feedback is always. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to post one thing for everyone in Colorado. Shayla Burrows and the Colorado Blockchain Council are putting on a town hall and social hour October 11th. Something that should be really interesting to anyone that's in Colorado and is interested in trying to help shape regulation around blockchain and just the token economy that's going on. And I'll post the link in the chat. If anyone has any questions about it, let me know, but it should be a really great event, and it's near and dear to our hearts because obviously we're based in Colorado. So check it out.
Thanks for the update, Phil. That's good information. Okay, our segment, Inspiration or Not, I have a good one for you today. Candide Tovas, if you know him, if you're an adventurer out there, this guy is absolutely amazing. Check out the video. It is real. And also a promotional spot, another commercial, sorry. It's a Quattro ad, but it's quite amazing. So we appreciate everybody joining us today. And again, join us on Discord, on Telegram, send us email, snail mail, whatever it takes to get us to be connected with you. Love to hear back from you, any feedback you might have about the call. And we wish everyone a good rest of the week. Thanks again, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.